Welcome back to Newbie for Hire and another Fortnite guide. This is a beginner's guide, so if you're not a beginner and you know everything about Save the World, don't worry about it. I'm going to try and make this relatively quick without missing anything important. So here we have the UI buttons at the top. These are the main buttons. We have the quests here. These are your main quest line following along here. It shows you what you need to do here and the reward. You can hit play now to go into it immediately, but I don't recommend that usually. You also have quest log here. If you want to get down to the nitty gritty, it also again has the main quests, has repeatable quests for the events, and it gives you the rewards, 100 gold, has the side quests here, daily quests, which also gives you 50 Vbucks. You can only hold 3 daily quests at a time, and then it has challenges, which also reward Vbucks. Most of my challenges are completed, so that's why they're not listed. So when we're doing quests, we're going to want to try and combine as many of these quests as possible, which we can do. This one, daily transformers, so I want an industrial zone, or I could also replace this quest by clicking replace quest, and it will give me a new daily quest in case I don't like the quest given, which we would sometimes do. In this case, this is fine. Destroy transformers is a very easy daily quest. We just need an industrial storm. We'd also want to do killer storms to get the 100 gold, so we would do one that's a mutant storm or elemental storm at the same time. These just happen naturally from my experience, same with these ones. As far as push the envelope, so we would want to do a Ride the Lightning, Fight the Storm, or Category Storm 2 in a 76 plus that is in an industrial zone and under a killer storm. That way we can get all 3 of those. And then if we Bone Collector, we'd also want to do the Desert or Thunder route in a 46 plus. It does not have to be in Canny Valley. It can be in Twine Peaks as long as it's in a Desert or Thunder route. So we would want to look for a Desert Thunder route that's located in a killer storm, that's a 76 plus, and in the industrial zone. That's what we would ideally want to find, so we could maximize what we're working on here. And in order to do, also on the bottom here, when there's an event, there will be another button for event quests, and they have their own quest lines. And you want to do the same thing to combine quests. Now we click on the map, and here we have the zones: Stonewood, Plankerton, Canny Valley, and Twine Peaks. In this case, we would want to do Twine Peaks because that's the most advanced for me. It gets me the materials I want. And we would want to look for a Desert or Thunder Route 99. And you can see it here listed in the top left. You can see Thunder Route 99. It tells you where it's at. It also tells you the type of thing it is, Industrial Park. In this case, we're not going to be able to get Industrial Park and Desert or Thunder Route 99. They're not compatible. So I would have to choose one of the two, whether I want to progress the main storyline or whether I want to do my daily quest when I do the mission. In this case, I'm not actually going to do anything, so that's irrelevant. Here we have our Storm Shield, and this is where you build your little base. We have one of these for each of the zones. You can collect your research points here. This powers up your hero. You can also select, and you can go into your Storm Shield at any time and work on your base, building your base. That's pretty much it for the map. Then we have command. Under command, we have our heroes, our survivors, upgrades, research profile. The upgrades and the research is one of the ways we make our characters more powerful. The research is what we just collected from the Storm Shield, and there's 4 things here. There's offense, tech, resistance, and fortitude. I believe that offense is the most valuable. It's what you do with your weapons, your guns, and your melee weapons against zombies. It increases the damage. The tech is for your traps. It increases the damage of your traps, so I think that is the second most important because it increases the damage your traps do. If you primarily trap, obviously that would be more important than this, but I find this is more important. Even though I am a constructor most of the time and I do mostly use traps, I still think this is more important. After that, I think resistance is better than fortitude because your shield regenerates, so I think you should focus then on resistance, and then finally on health. You always, of course, need some health, so I kind of go back and forth a little bit between fortitude and resistance until I've got them maxed. That's for research. As far as upgrades go, this is what you get as you level up. You get upgrade points. We have here gadgets and tools. I believe that for the main part, tools is going to be the best for you for advancing you in the storyline. Now, the reason you want to advance in the storyline, if you're only playing this for Vbucks or whatever reason, I think you should really play it because it's quite fun. But if you just want Vbucks, you want to advance in the storyline because there are specific Vbuck missions that are only available in the higher tier levels. As well, it makes it easier for you to complete your dailies and Vbuck missions the stronger you get. Now here in the upgrades, we want tools. I think the pickaxe upgrade is the best. This helps you harvest faster. Then after that, I think the backpack size is the next most important because you end up picking up a lot of loot. As far as building health and building repair, it uses the highest person in your party, so it's not as important because someone else will most likely have a higher one than you. But either way, I think these are the next most important to build the repair speed and building health. And then lastly, Storm Shield Storage Vault, which isn't too useful, but it is somewhat useful. As for gadgets, you can only use 2 at a time, so you only need to focus on 2 of these to start. The 2 that you're going to be using the most, which is most likely going to be hover turrets because they're very powerful. So you definitely want hover turrets. And then after that, however your playstyle is determined, I like supply drop because I play a constructor and I like extra supplies. Adrenaline Rush, even though I don't have a level, is actually quite good and heals you up. This one does some damage. I don't think it's very good. Banner can be decent. Slow Field can be alright. Proximity Mine I haven't actually used. Teleporter I think is very underwhelming. And that's for that. And that's how you level up for those. Now for heroes, this is your hero loadout. The hero is what you play. Here you can select to manage, and here we have the different schematics. Now this is the important part of the whole game. The way you get more powerful in the game, for the most part, is by leveling up schematics. So your schematics start out as level, if they're legendary, they start out as level 20. And from there we can level them up by clicking Upgrade Inspect, and then we click this Level Up button. In this case I'm not interested in leveling her up. You level up the hero's schematics by clicking on them, click Upgrade Inspect. You use these Hero XP to level them up, and it increases the further you go up. You click Level Up, confirm Level Up, and you go all the way up, and there's 10 tiers. There's 10 levels for each tier, and then once you level to a new tier, as you can see here, once you level to a new tier, there's an Evolve button, and it requires a lot more materials, depending on how high up it is. And you get these materials, for the most part, the further along you get in the game. So you're in the beginning of the game, you're not going to be getting these higher level materials in order to upgrade higher level. So this is important, not for heroes, but for weapons later on, because you don't want to level your weapons beyond where you are in the game. So in this case, if you're just starting out, you're probably only going to want to level about 1 hero or 2 or 3 or 4 heroes, one of each type, depending. So you're going to start out with probably just 1, and then the further along you go, you want 1 of each type, and then from there you want even more of each type, and then you want to level ones for bonuses. As for the heroes, they have stats and bonuses. The bonuses is what they provide to the main hero you're using. So in the heroes there are 3 slots. I'll show that in a minute. But each hero has different bonuses they provide, a support squad bonus or a tactical squad bonus. Not all heroes are created equal, and not all bonuses are created equal here. Now you want to tailor the bonuses to the hero you're using, so you want to focus on hero. Typically heroes of the same type are the ones that give the best bonuses to the type you're using. So if you're using a soldier, most likely other soldiers are going to give you the bonuses you want. Not necessarily, but usually. Here we have the hero loadout. This is where you select the heroes you're going to use. This is the primary, the hero you're going to be using. So you would select by either double clicking and selecting the hero, or by clicking change. You can upgrade from here as well, and you could change here to the hero you want to use. This is your main hero. You can see his power, and you can see his bonuses that he's receiving from the bonuses. Here you select the characters that are going to be giving the bonus to your main hero. They also give stats to the main hero depending on how powerful they are, their own level. So if she was level 130, she would be giving him more health and more shield. So that's something to consider. If, for example, if the bonus I was getting was from a level 20, it might be better to just put the highest level character in there to get more health and shield, as opposed to the bonus. The bonus doesn't always necessarily outweigh the health and shield you'll be getting, but typically I find that it does. In this case it definitely does, because I want support squad bonus, pre-planning, reduce the cost of building by 10%. So I use that with his recycling ability, and I get lots of materials back. I can build massive bases at almost no cost. In the squad bonus here, we have 2 slots here. The slot they're put in is what determines what bonus they give. This first spot is the support bonus spot. The second one is the tactical bonus slot. And they have to be in the correct slot to give their bonus, the correct bonus. So if I put him in the support slot bonus, he won't give this bonus. He'll give whatever his support bonus is. I don't know what it is. And that's the hero loadout. Remember, leveling up the heroes on these schematics is what makes them more powerful. It gives them more health. It gives them more shield. Then we have defenders. I don't typically use defenders very often because usually you have players in the game and they're not necessary, but if you're playing by yourself, they can be very valuable. As you can see, I've focused on one defender here. It's typically the only one I use. I really do want a sniper defender because they're also pretty good. Eventually, I'd want a defender of each type, as you can use multiple defenders in a given match. The defenders here use the same experience material as the heroes to level them up, and it's the same situation. You upgrade, same thing here. Whoops, he's all the way leveled up. Over here, you level them up, and they gain more powerful as they're leveled up. I didn't touch on this in the hero one, but if you want to get experience, specific hero experience, you can retire heroes. And when you retire them, they give you experience and training manuals if they're blue or better. They'll give training manuals. If they're green or less, they will not give training manuals. They'll just give experience. And that's how you get experience to level up your better heroes, is by retiring worse ones that you're not going to use. And that goes for heroes, weapons, traps, survivors, everything. You can also do a batch retire and retire a whole bunch at once if you wanted. You can see I get a whole bunch. If you want to put them in the collection book, you can do it directly from here. I think you can click here and it shows the ones that are not in the collection book. And I have all the ones in the collection book that are not orange. So these are all in the collection book. You can select these things up here if you want to focus on a specific one. It's the same for the hero one. You can do that in the hero loadout or in the hero manage. You can do outlanders, ninjas, constructors, or ones that are not yet in the collection book, in case you want to focus on putting them in the collection book. The collection book is just kind of a fun thing you might want to do. It doesn't really give you very good rewards, so it's typically more expensive than just you playing the game, but eventually you get tons of little things and you might as well just do it anyway. You can get some Vbucks bonuses from that as well. Then we have expeditions. Typically we don't want to do any of the expeditions except for one expedition. It's the one I've just done. And that is to collect these survivors. Because these missions require you to use survivors to send them. They make you use these recruits. But we need these recruits for something else. So we don't, sending these missions, they give you bad materials that aren't useful for it in the late game. So in the early game they might seem useful, but they're not. In the late game we want all these recruits, and I'll show you that why in a minute. So for the most part we just ignore most of this because I think you can only get recruits from the one mission here. I've never seen a second one. Anyway, for the expeditions, you click on it, you fill out your squad, and this you get bonuses. In this case I get soldier bonuses. You have to get to 100% if you want to guarantee a successful mission. You scroll through your list of heroes. The higher their level, the more powerful they are. So I want to use a higher level one to guarantee the success of the mission. I'll do that, start expedition, confirm, and I'll get those materials back. You can do the other expeditions and get other materials, but typically it's not worth it, and I'll show you why in a minute. Here on the profile, you can give bonuses to yourself or to your party by using XP boosts, which you probably have a bunch for playing the game. And that's it for command. Here in the armory, we have the schematics for our weapons and traps. It's the same as the heroes. They get more powerful by leveling them up. And this is really the most important aspect of the game. This is how your weapons get more powerful. You get schematics from opening llamas or completing missions. You'll get schematics, and schematics are craftable weapons or traps that you use in the game. So if you level them up, when you craft this item, it will be more powerful. So it'll be a level 106 gun here if I craft it. And I originally leveled this up from a level 20 gun, which is what they start out as. Now keep in mind that higher level guns require higher level materials to craft, as you can see the crafting materials here. And it's based on tiers, just like the game is. Level 20 through 34 is stonewood tier, so they'll require stonewood materials. The next tier up will require plankerton materials, and the next tier up will require Canny Valley materials, and the final tier requires Twine Peaks materials. Now, 106 is actually Twine Peaks, and then near the end of Twine Peaks, you'll start getting materials for the 130s, which is actually for a higher level zone, or the near the end of Twine Peaks. Because the materials kind of bleed over a little bit between the zones. Here we have the same kind of menu here. You can target just traps or just melee or just weapons, collection book, etc. And again, it's the same way. If you favorite it, you won't be able to. Oh, I don't think I touched on this. If you favorite your heroes or traps or weapons, you will not be able to put them accidentally in the collection book or accidentally retire them. So if you don't want to accidentally destroy your things, favorite them. Typically, if you're just starting out, you'll want to level up one legendary weapon at a time, and then once you start getting more materials, more schematic EXP, you can start leveling up more weapons and more traps as it suits your play style. Again, as the same thing with batch recycle, there is one additional component to leveling traps and weapons, and that is the perks here. You can see they have different, these are all purple, and they move along, they give extra bonuses. Here we can upgrade those by clicking upgrade, modify perks, and you require perk up in order to level these up. As you can see that down here, this requires legendary perk up, 345 of it, and regular perk up to level this up one more level. And it will require the smaller materials, rare perk up, epic perk up if it's a smaller perk level. So for example, on this one, I want to level up this green, modify perk, click the green one, and it's going to require rare perk up 150 to level that up. So perk up's very important for getting your weapons very powerful. You probably want to focus on just one all-around weapon at the start, which is what I've done here with this siege breaker. This is kind of my all-arounder. At some point, I want to make this energy siege breaker an all-arounder with max perks. And that probably when you're first starting out, you just want to focus on one good all-around weapon because you won't have the resources. But eventually, you'll want one weapon of each element type, and you'll switch in the game the different element types to destroy the monsters, because the monsters become quite resistant to different elements as they get stronger in the game, and specific elements make it easier to fight them. Energy is an all-arounder for damaging all different types of monsters, which makes it a good all-around weapon, but not as good against specific elements as the counter element. So in this one, we have nature as a counter element to water. We have fire here, which is a counter element to nature. I'm not going to go too deep into that. I mean, you can check out more online, Googling and Redding to find out more about the elements and how they work. But energy is the all-arounder. Physical is weak, but physical gets more damage. As you can see here, element physical gets 38% damage, versus element here gets 20% damage at the gold level, 20% damage for nature. So they don't get as much as physical. So certain monsters that don't have an elemental bonus, physical is the best thing against them. Some kind of weapons would especially benefit from physical damage. Another reason to have a good all-around weapon is because that's what you want to put on your defender, a good all-around weapon, because your defender, he's going to be attacking mobs of all types, and you're not going to be able to switch weapons on your defender all the time. So your defender is going to want either an energy or a high physical damage weapon. So that's why this sniper, I'm probably going to keep it as physical damage. Since the sniper, you're also aiming for the head. You're going to be attacking blasters, which don't gain element types, and you're going to want to one-shot those with physical damage. Anyway, there's a whole bunch that gets into that. It goes way beyond a beginner's guide. Anyway, that's for that. Remember, you level these up the same as the way that you level up the heroes. That's how you get more powerful weapons in the game. And once you've leveled them up, you can keep recreating this. I can create 1,000 of these if I want, because this is a schematic. And you can recycle these again to get materials. In this case, traps. All these weapons use the same experience points to level up. There is one other difference between leveling these up and leveling up the heroes, is that once you get to level 82 and you need to evolve them, there's a branching path here that you need to pay attention to, and that you have Obsidian and Shadow Shard. Shadow Shard does more overall DPS, but it has lower durability compared to Obsidian. It also lowers the fire rate However, the increased damage makes up for the lowered fire rate, typically in most situations. For most weapons, you'll probably want to use Shadow Shard, but occasionally Obsidian is a better option. And even if you accidentally do Obsidian or accidentally do Shadow Shard, they're both good. Having the increased durability means that you get more for each craft of your gun. However, having increased damage means you get more overall damage per bullet. Depending on the type of weapon, also maybe you don't want to decrease the fire rate of the weapon. So there's many reasons why you might choose Obsidian or you might choose Shadow Shard. Typically, Shadow Shard is the more desirable option, but not in all cases. And that's a thing specific to weapons, both melee and ranged. It does not happen with traps. Traps do not have a branching path. Traps just go straight up. As far as which traps are the best, they're all pretty good. I personally like wall darts, flame drill, and ceiling electric, mainly because you get lots of materials to be able to craft a lot of these ones. Also, wall launcher, you get a lot of materials to craft a lot of wall launchers. But having a wide variety of traps is always the best. However, it's quite expensive. I plan on leveling up a lot more traps because I love using traps in the game. After the schematics, we have our backpack. This is where we do the crafting. We can craft right here from this menu. We don't have to be in a mission. And you just click on it and click craft, or you can inspect it to see better things about it. This is what we actually have in our inventory. Here's our ammunition. Different weapons require different ammunition. We have our traps. I'll need to destroy all these. You can destroy them from here as well with the batch recycle button. So you would just click on this and just recycle away. And it'll give you back materials in this case instead of experience. It only gives you experience when you recycle schematics. These are actual traps, not schematics, that I'm recycling here. So they give back materials from recycling them. And here we have, at the top here, we have the materials that we have available to us in order to do the crafting. You can see what materials are when you click here. You can see how many you have available to see what you might need or how you're doing regarding which traps or which weapons. So in this case, I'm doing pretty good on all the materials here for the 106s. Lower levels, as you can see, require different materials. So in the case of traps, I find it's useful to keep some lower level schematics. When you're doing lower level missions, you would want to craft lower level traps that cost lower level materials, so you're not wasting your higher level materials. Especially since in the lower level missions, your traps and your weapons are leveled down automatically. So in Stonewood, a 106 trap that I place is not doing the damage of a 106 trap. This 58 trap would do just as much damage as a 106 trap in Stonewood. The same goes for weapons. I don't remember exactly how the leveling down works, but there is a leveling down of materials. So using a 106 gun in a Stonewood or Plankerton mission is pointless when you can use a lower level one and get all the benefits. After the backpack, we have our Storm Shield defense storage. This we can access when we go to our main base, or we can access it from in here. I typically just use this to store materials because when we go to the stone base, we're going to be building, so I need a lot of materials to be building. When you finish a mission, you can actually move resources from your backpack into the storage, so you can keep storing excess resources over here as you need them or as you get them. From there, we have the collection book, and here you just socket little things in here. This number shows how many you've got. So for me, I wait till I have a 2 before I put anything in the collection book to make sure I have duplicates. Next up, we have transform. These transformers are the reason we only want to do the one expedition type, because transforming people, heroes or defenders or survivors, requires people, which is what we got from that one mission, and which is what the other expeditions cost. They cost people, but we need all these people. The expedition materials aren't as valuable as the survivor experience we'll be getting from using this transform key here, this blue one. If we have survivor transform keys of higher level, we'll want to use those because they use fewer people and fewer whatnot. If you need heroes that are legendary, you can use these transform keys. Typically, when you're using the key, it will require 5 of a lower tier. So it will require 5 purple heroes to make one legendary hero. You can see the amount of power they give here, 200 out of 1,000, so I'll need 5. Different things give different amount. For example, a legendary trap will give me 300 if I wanted to use traps. However, a purple trap will only give 120. As far as the order of what they give, Heroes give the most, traps give the second most, defenders give the third most, then weapons give the fourth most, then lead survivors, and then regular survivors give the least as far as how much goes toward building it. In this particular case, if you needed a particular weapon or trap, you might want to use one of those legendary keys. I wouldn't use the purple. I wouldn't use the purple keys for anything other than survivors. Weapons, using a purple weapon is pointless because you're all going to have already legendary weapons. You have plenty of them through playing the game. However, you have a repeatable survivor transform schematic down here, and this is what we're going to use the most. Once you've used all your schematics for survivors, we're going to use this blue one, and we're going to do this. We're going to use weapons or traps for the most part to get what we want, and we're going to try and use green ones or gray ones, and we have to get to 30. 30 is what we're trying to hit. If we go over 30, that's fine, but 30 is what we want. We need at least 30 to get the max to get a rare survivor, and it will give us schematic EXP because we're using traps, and we hit transform and we get a survivor out of it, and this means we can scrap this guy to get survivor EXP. Now remember, when we were scrapping schematics, if they were blue or better, they gave us a trap schematic, a weapon schematic, or a training manual. You're going to need a lot of training manuals to level up survivors, so that's probably one of the most important ones. As far as weapon schematics, we get plenty of those, so we can scrap blue weapons, because when we do this and we use the transform key to scrap them, we don't get the schematic. We don't get the trap schematic, weapon schematic, or survivor or training manual when we use it in here, as opposed to when we do it on the other menu. So we definitely don't want to use survivors in here. We'd get the EXP, but we wouldn't get the training manual, which we're going to need, and I'll show you why in a minute. Here we have the resources. Anyway, this blue key is the reason we want people, because we want to make this guy turning our weapon schematic EXP into survivor EXP by transforming weapons into survivors here, because we need a lot of both training manuals and survivor EXP, and this is what we need people for. We get people from rescuing survivors and missions, and it costs quite a bit. It costs 25 people for each one of these, and you can only hold 1,000 people maximum. Once you hit 1,000 people, it stops collecting. Here we have our resources. We have the various resources we need throughout the game. Legendary Flux, this is for improving items from purple to legendary. This is legendary perk up, epic perk up, rare perk up. This is for upgrading the perks of our items. This is for upgrading our heroes and weapons. This is daily coins, and so on and so forth. I think that's enough about that. Oh, actually, these are the manuals that I was talking about. Training manuals for leveling up heroes and survivors, trap designs for leveling up traps, weapon designs for leveling up weapons. We typically get way more weapon designs and trap designs than we ever need, so these aren't we're not too worried about these. However, training manuals, we don't get nearly as many as we need, and I'll show you why in a minute. Here we have the item shop. We have the various pinatas we can buy. If you're playing this game, typically the only pinata you want to spend Vbucks on, if you wanted to spend Vbucks on pinatas instead of on BR skins, would be People Llama. This is actually the llama you would want to buy, the People Llama or the Super People Llama, because we need survivors. We get plenty of weapons from playing the game. We get plenty of heroes from playing the game. We get plenty of traps from playing the game. We don't get enough survivors from playing the game. So if we wanted to buy a llama, this would be the one, the People Llama or Super People Llama. And here we have the event. We can click here to go to the event. This is where you can spend your gold on various special heroes or special weapons that are not otherwise obtainable in the game. So if you're playing a lot, you get a bunch of gold, you might want to spend them on this stuff. As far as what I would spend them on, I always would spend them on survivors if I have tons of gold, rare perk up, account perk up, uncommon perk up. Down here we have the daily coins. There's always 2 items per week, and you can get 700 coins per week, so you can buy 1 item per week. Remember, traps are more valuable in the transform schematic, so if you don't need either one and you want to spend the coins, get a trap. However, if you do need the weapon, sometimes there's a weapon you might need, go ahead and buy the weapon. As far as what else you would spend, you want to get the rare perk up, the green perk up. Pure drops of rain are very good. The survivors, again, because we want survivor EXP. and then Armory Slot. This is, to me, is the most important. The Armory Slot, we also have it over here, because when we're getting the schematics, these Armory Slots give us more slots. I have 795 Armory Slots. I have 1,100 schematics, which means I can't use any new schematics I get. That's why they have the lock over them until I go below 795, which means I have to scrap all these hundreds. If I only had, for example, 200 slots, I wouldn't be able to use almost anything I get. I'd have to be constantly scrapping items, and I'd have to be constantly micromanaging this inventory. So in the interest of saving myself work of micromanaging this inventory, I want to increase these slots, and the way you do that is by buying these Armory Slots. Then you don't have to go in and micromanage your materials all the time. You can just go in and clean out 500 schematics at a time. All right, so here, then we have the store. You can buy Vbucks and whatnot in the store. The biggest thing that I have skipped over here, which is also the most important, but first I want to quickly touch on how many schematics here. For example, like I was saying earlier, this is just from playing the game. I get all these legendary schematics just from playing the game, and I've scrapped tons of them, and I still have tons more, tons of traps, one of each type at least, of every type of trap in legendary. Same with weapons, same with melee weapons, and same with heroes. You can see I've got tons of legendary or mythic heroes all over the place. However, and same with defenders, I have quite a few, not a ton of defenders, but I have enough defenders. The last thing that I didn't touch on here is the survivors, and this is the most important part of the game. This is where you gain most of your power in the game after leveling up your weapons and your heroes and whatnot, is from these survivors. So we want to manage our survivors. It's the same kind of menu. You level them up, upgrade, retire, same exact menu as before. However, when you're leveling up survivors, you need training manuals when you evolve, and it takes quite a few, 13 to just get this lady from one tier up. And we also have mythic survivors. And in survivors, we have lead survivors and regular survivors, which is I'm going to touch on in a minute. So the survivors, what we're going to use them on is these squads right here. And these squads give us bonuses to power. There are 8 squads, 2 for each stat. 2 for fortitude, 2 for offense, 2 for shield, and 2 for traps. And so, of course, the most important to us are the offense, which are the Fire Team Alpha and the Close Assault Squad. Next important for us, in my opinion, is the trap one. So the think tank is trap, and the Corps of Engineering is trap. Then from there we have the shield, the gadgeteers, and the scouting party, and lastly the health, which is the training team, and the EMT squad. Now, we can use autofill, and it does an okay job, but it's not as good as doing it ourselves. So this is the biggest part. We have the lead survivor, and this is the most important survivor in the squad. We can change, upgrade, do all that business, but we need it to be a match. We need it to match the EMT squad. We need a leader who matches the EMT squad. This is the most important thing. And it's even more important to match this than it is the rarity of the thing. As you can see, she gets way more power from matching the squad than this guy who doesn't match the squad. He's a power 40, she's a power 92, even though they're both 2 stars. Look at this one, doesn't match. Power 46, power 92, because she matches and this guy doesn't. So it's a big power boost matching the leader. So even if you have to make it weaker than an orange or whatever, just use the highest you've got. If it's a blue, use it a blue. Whatever matches, match it, and then level it up. This is the most important one in your squad. I should level her up more, but I'm hoping to get an orange one at some point, or a mythic one. From there we have the squad. So the most important thing to match here is the personality, which is this little symbol thing. Now, an orange unmatched personality is pretty much equal to a purple matched personality. As you can see, this one gives 20 power, this one gives 19 power. This one's matched, this one's not matched. So if it's an orange unmatched versus a blue matched, we'll go with the orange unmatched. But if it's an orange matched versus a purple, for example, we can go with the purple or the orange, either one. So anyway, we match these personalities. After the personalities, then we would match these stats on the side. These are the least important factor. We're of course going to want to try and match them, but more importantly, to match the personality. And then we level these guys up. And again, there are 8 personalities and there are 8 teams. So ideally, you would want 1 personality per team, which is what I've done here. And I did that based on the leaders. Again, you want the best leaders that you've got because they have way more power than the non-leaders. And again, because the close assault squad and the fire team alpha are our best squads, those are the ones where we want to get most of our orange guys if we can. But again, it depends on the leader. For example, in this particular case, I have an orange. She's my only orange fire team alpha. You got to match these symbols here. So I have to match all these guys to her personality as opposed to a different one. So when you're building your squads, first focus on the leaders. Put the best leaders you've got in the spots, then focus on matching these guys to the personality of the leader. Ideally, you want 1 personality per team as opposed to doubling up, because then you wouldn't have enough survivors most likely. Now remember, I had all those orange heroes, all those orange weapons, but look how many purple survivors I've got. I've got tons of purple survivors. So if I wanted a piñata, I would want a people piñata to try and get survivors. Also, as you can see, I have to level all these survivors up, which is why we need tons of training manuals and tons of survivor EXP. You need survivor EXP more than anything in the game. More than weapon EXP, more than hero EXP. You need survivor EXP. It's what you need the most. I would say you need most survivor EXP, then you need schematic EXP, then lastly you need hero EXP, because you just don't need that many heroes. You do need tons of traps and you need a few weapons, so you need some weapon, some schematic EXP, but mostly you need survivor EXP because you have to level up all these survivors. It's a ton. That's why when we're doing the transform, we're doing this survivor transform, because we want to use these people on getting more survivor EXP, because that's the most important in the game. I forgot one thing. If you're trying to get V-Bucks, remember we have the daily quests, we have the challenges, we have the Storm Shield defenses. These all give V-Bucks. Remember, the Storm Shield defenses give 100 V-Bucks each. But there's one other way to get V-Bucks. Specific missions give V-Bucks, which is another reason we want to level up. Because if there's a mission in Twine Peaks that gives V-Bucks and we're not in Twine Peaks, we can't do that mission. We can't get those V-Bucks. Right now, there's V-Buck missions in Stonewood and Plankerton. So we can just click on Plankerton and we can see, we can find it's a 15 mission, level 15 mission, which I think is up here, or up here, no, down here. Oh wait, that's the stone one. I'm looking at the stone one. Plankerton was a 40 mission, which is up here. So, snowflake tickets, when did that start? Here it is. So this one gives, we do this mission, it gives 30 V-Bucks. So these missions are popping up all the time. If you want to see where they are, when they are, check out stormshield.one, the website, and go to the Save the World portion, and they will show you all the different missions that you can get, and they'll show the V-Buck missions that you might want to do. And again, the higher you level up, the more V-Buck missions you can do. So those are the ways to get the V-Bucks. Again, quest log, remember. So we got the specific V-Buck missions, which we go to Storm Shield 1 to check out. We've got repeatable quests, which occasionally give V-Bucks when it's an event. We've got Storm Shield defenses, which give 100 V-Bucks, and this level 10 gives 150 V-Bucks apparently. Each one gives 100 V-Bucks, so I can get 700 more V-Bucks from doing all these Twine Peaks defenses. And there's also 10 defenses for Stonewood, there's 10 for Plankerton, there's 10 for Canny Valley. So that's at least 4,000 odd V-Bucks that you can get from that. Daily quests, again, you get 50 V-Bucks each one. You can hold a maximum of 3 daily quests. So if you gather up 3 daily quests, you can do all 3 at once if you want. And the challenges, there's lots of challenges, lots of them give V-Bucks. I've done most of them. Once you're finished with them, you can no longer get them. I don't know which ones all give V-Bucks, but I think that about covers it. Remember, level up your schematics to level up the power of your items, because you can repeatably craft these items. Again, in the backpack, here's your schematics listed here, trap schematics listed here, and you can just craft a bunch. So I'm crafting 3 traps from the schematic. Same with weapons. You can craft multiple of these weapons once you've got the schematic leveled up. So you level up the schematic, your weapons get more powerful. Survivors get more powerful, your heroes get more powerful. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you want free weapons, ask in the comments. I'll give you free weapons of what I've got, obviously schematics for. Again, this 106 isn't that helpful in Stonewood, but it is better than a nothing in Stonewood, I guess. And it can help you progress a little bit. Also, if there's any other kind of video you want me to make, put it in the comments and I'll see about making it. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. If you like this type of content, I do guides for Fortnite, World of Warcraft, Ark, whatever. I also do funny videos, or at least I think they're funny. Subscribe if you like to, hit the thumbs up. Again, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.